there is one player that apparently is going to hit free agency, a player that we've been talking about a good bit over the past couple of months, and that is Mitch Marner. According to Andy Strickland of the Cam and Strick podcast, Marner will not be returning to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Instead, let me know if you've heard this one before, Darren Ferris will take his client to the open market. And then there's another report, speculation from David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period saying he would not be surprised if Marner walked away with a $14 million AAV on a 7-year deal. And the team that Pagnotta speculated could be in on this discussion, the Carolina Hurricanes. So Mitch Marner might be coming to the Metropolitan Division, but does he fit with this particular team, the Pittsburgh Penguins, in the Metropolitan Division?
It doesn't seem it, does it? No, the money never seemed like it was going to seem it. 14 year over year for Mitch Marner. I mean, the Hurricanes have, first of all, already. I don't know if Puckpedia has updated to the point of the new cap in there, but $28 million in cap space right now, and their goalie is locked up for another year. Both goalies are locked up through next season. Brent Burns isn't going to require a ton of money. Dmitry Orlov is probably going to free agency as well. Jack Roslovic. I think that the Hurricanes could throw $15 million at Mitch Marner and still be okay money-wise, truthfully. Their team is pretty locked up through at least a couple seasons. That'll be a fascinating team to keep an eye on in terms of the Marner sweepstakes, probably other players in the free agency market as well. And they're a team that, especially considering the playoffs they just put together, a couple of trades might be involved in there as well to help shed more cap space if need be.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to try and make some big changes, take some big swings, and none bigger than that one. I could easily see Carolina being involved in that. And weren't they not already? Weren't they one of the teams involved in the that whole? I mean, obviously the whole Mikko Rantanen fiasco, but wasn't that the connection there? They were trying to get Marner out of Toronto during the season.
Yeah, I thought, if I remember correctly, there were some discussions that were had on podcasts like 32 Thoughts that the Hurricanes were trying to get another big name star because, well, they're 0 for 2 on keeping them in Carolina over the last couple of years with Jake Gensel and then Mikko Rantanen. Carolina's just, what did we say a couple episodes ago? And I think our first episode back, is there a team that is having more of an identity crisis than the Carolina Hurricanes? Nobody is sticking there, and they can't get past the Eastern Conference Final. Not only that, they can't even compete once they get into the Eastern Conference Final. So maybe this helps them, and I know a lot of people are going to scream at the screen right now, whichever they're watching on, whether it's a phone or a laptop or a television. They're going to say, yeah, like Mitch Marner is actually going to help them in the playoffs. Well, if you look at his last 4 years in the playoffs, he's a point-per-game player. I mean, maybe not in the biggest moments, but he's scoring. He's putting up points. And at the end of the day, what is Carolina's biggest issue? Scoring in the playoffs. But this is not a Carolina Hurricanes podcast. This is a Penguins podcast. So as far as whether or not he fits with the Penguins, I don't think at this current stage that they're at, I don't think that he fits at all. Really.
No.
I mean, there are times when you have a plan that there are players that shake loose that you can make an exception for. I just don't think taking that big of a swing this early into a rebuild is going to pan out for the Penguins. Because you look at what happened a couple of years ago. I understand they weren't looking to rebuild 2 off seasons ago, but they took a big swing in getting Erik Karlsson. They took a big swing, whether you believe it or not, on Ryan Graves. He was the top defenseman on the free agent market. They took a big swing, signed him to a 6-year deal. Not only did it not work out, it has actively pushed them back in their rebuild. I think that's something you have to keep an eye on with Mitch Marner. He's 28 already. He won't be 29 and they're competing. I think it's probably 30 to 31 years old with Mitch Marner before you're truly competing for something again. And I just don't think that with the need to completely overhaul your defense, to potentially completely overhaul your goaltending, that bringing in Mitch Marner at the pontificated number of $14 million is going to be something that would fit with the Penguins. Now, would it be fun? Yes.
Of course.
It would be a heck of a lot of fun to watch Sidney Crosby and Mitch Marner on the same team. But I don't know if it fits where the Penguins are at as they're currently constructed.
I don't think so either. Not at this current construction. The issue is I don't see Marner's decline coming kind of the same way that I was just talking about Brian Rust's. And what makes Pittsburgh an interesting option for Marner here, you just got to kind of play ball with me here, is that the Penguins window could easily reopen in the next 7 years.
Well, in the next 7. Yeah,
exactly. And I'll leave it at that. Give Marner the idea of, hey, listen, the first 2 of this 7-year, 14, fine. Let's just say 14 for the sake of conversation. For $14 million year over year for 7 years. Hey, we might not be good for the first 2. Let me tell you about those last 5, though. Where you're making a ton of money. Maybe Sidney Crosby's signing another small deal to stick around at the age of 40. Still playing with your buddy Sid. Who knows who's on the team by then in terms of prospects coming up, other trades that may have happened. Mitch, listen, you may not have been the biggest name in Toronto. You may have been quite disliked in Toronto. You won't be disliked in Pittsburgh, that's for certain. And you won't be the biggest name in Pittsburgh. And the tensions and I don't want to call it the pressure, because when you say the pressure, trademark, Toronto will lose its mind. But that sort of intensity isn't here in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a great sports town. It is an intense sports town. There is a lot of pressure to succeed here, sure. Boy, there's something about Toronto, though, and something with that whole conversation of Mitch Marner as a playoff player. Listen, man, you said the stats, sure, that might be a lot of games 1, 2, and 3. Who knows what a different scenario, a different home ice, what a different fan base does for a player like Mitch Marner. Mm-hmm. Truly, who knows? You don't know. The thing with Toronto is they're stuck in the mud because they refuse to change. Mitch Marner was going to be that change in terms of they were going to send him out. They decided to fire Kyle Dubas instead. And guess what? Mitch Marner's going to end up being the only change. They're going to re-sign John Tavares. Have fun with that one. I keep seeing Toronto people discuss that it's the combination of players that's not working. It's not necessarily the skill level. It's the combo. They're keeping the combo mostly the same. You could tell Marner, this is going to be a new combo for you here. It's going to take some time to grow into, but you'll be a centerpiece of it. He'll be the Phil Kessel of this, essentially.
Ooh.
There you go. There's the long-winded way of saying Mitch Marner could be the Phil Kessel of this whole situation. Sidney Crosby might still be around. We'll see. Evgeny Malkin, definitely gone. But maybe there's a new piece to kind of be the 2C because Marner's not a center, so we got to work with a wing here. God only knows what's going on with the Penguins defense in the next 365 days. Let's not worry about that. Mm-hmm. For the sake of the forward conversation, going forward, ironically, absolutely Mitch Marner could be looked at as that Phil Kessel situation. He's not the first piece, he's not the second, but you know what? He is a darn good point scorer, fast, he's got some speed, and guess what Mitch Marner can do that Phil Kessel couldn't, or at least they used him to do that in Toronto? Kill penalties. Let me sell you on this one.
I was about to say, you might have a future as a used car salesman. You might have just unlocked that career path for yourself. And that's your reel right there. If somebody down at the Honda dealership on McKnight Road is like, hey, what can you do to show me your sales acumen? It's not sell me this pen. Yep. It's watch me try to sell Mitch Marner on coming to the sinking ship that has been the Pittsburgh Penguins over the past couple of years. And hey, listen, I can add on to your pitch. I was about to say, I can add to your pitch too. Imagine, Mitch, if you're the guy that helps Sid get his 4th cup right before he retires. Imagine you are the guy that he's hugging as he's getting ready to just walk off into the sunset with cup number 4. That could be you that turned it all around in Pittsburgh. Now, whether or not that's actually feasible is neither here nor there. But if you can make him believe it, maybe he comes down on that 14 a little bit. Maybe he says, you know what? I'm feeling the spirit of Sidney Crosby coursing through my veins. Let me take a pay cut to go to the Penguins. At the end of the day, I think it would have to be a tremendous sale job. And that number would have to, capital letters, _, have to come down for it to make any sense for the Penguins. I think at the end of the day, very much so out of the realm of possibility, but it's interesting to speculate and to think of because it's June 15th and we still have a couple weeks before we even get to the draft. But you had one more layer. I'll let you go at right now.
It's another fun, quick layer. You got to remember where Phil Kessel came from before arriving in Pittsburgh. It was the Toronto Maple Leafs, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, the story writes itself.
The move of destiny.
Yes. What, 10 years later? Kessel came over.
And it would be a decade. It would be a decade.
It's all coming up Millhouse. It's all coming up Millhouse for Penguins and Mitch Marner. No, I think we can both agree that in 2 weeks, we're probably talking about Mitch Marner signing somewhere else. But
2 weeks, we're talking about Mitch Marner. Yeah. In 2 weeks, we're talking about Mitch Marner, the LA King. It's okay.
Yeah. That honestly makes a lot of sense.